Weazel Nightly News. This is Moira Black, your anchor, and we're here to talk about the Jackals fire down at the compound. We headed down to the compound ourselves and spoke with the Jackals to discuss the aftermath of the situation and what they're going to now be doing. Hi guys, I know that this is a bit of a tough time, well, that local. So sorry, but I know that this is quite a tough time for you guys to be talking to us. I know that this place is a very important place for you guys. It's somewhere that you spend a lot of your time and conduct a lot of your business with the towing and everything. So how are you guys feeling right now after the sort of tragic accident that's happened?
I mean, a lot of us, we spent a lot, like I say, we spent a lot of time here. A lot of memories were created in the compound, and we're all left with a very sour taste in our mouth. And if I'm honest, it's all sour towards Denzel Stark. He's the cause of all this.
Can you tell me a bit more about that? I mean, obviously you've directly named him, so there must be something that has caused this. What happened last night to make you say that?
Well, the police they came in full force, assaulted myself and numerous other members of the Jackals, and through altercations within the walls, fires were started and fires spread, and before we knew it, we were just looking on in horror as our livelihood went up in flames.
So what was their reason for being on the scene in the first place? The police officers. This is.
Well, Mr. Stark had he had failed to upkeep payments on his vehicle. His vehicle was going to be repossessed, and it was being held here in the compound as we own a towing business. So his vehicle was repossessed and being held here, and he came and forcefully took it back.
Yeah.
From what I can gather, between 12 and 15 officers were involved. And I think there was there five Jackals members that were injured.
Wow.
Within this altercation. I mean, I wouldn't want to throw accusations around, but I would say it's definitely the police department's fault. Well, the fire report came back and said that we had faulty electricals within the establishment, which, I mean, we've been there nearly 2 years, and we've never had any issues with our electricals. Okay, maybe it wasn't the best maintained place in the world, but it was home, and in our eyes, it was safe. Yeah, I mean, the police kicking down doors and throwing us around the place and stuff. Things happened, stuff got spilt. It could have easily got into the electricals if that was the case.
Of course. So what is your plan now? Where are you guys staying? Where are you operating your business from? And what are the plans on, reconstructing the compound?
Well, like I say, we've been in the compound now close to 2 years. As many things go, it's time to start a new chapter in our story of life, and I think something like this is, although it may come as hardship and such a bad thing, maybe it's time for a new endeavor and a new place. But we'll wait and see.
That was Taylor Jackson and the rest of the Jackals who were speaking with us just then. We're now going to move down to Mission Row, where we spoke with Denzel Stark to get his side of the story.
Okay, so essentially, how this all started as in the station at Mission Road PD, talking to the lovely Attorney General Andrew Spector. Talk about a situation what happened. You're just clarifying it all up. Making sure that the police force is doing their right job and keeping the lovely citizens of Los Santos safe. I concluded my meeting with Mr. Spector to find a bunch of jackals on the Mission Road PD parking lot with a forklift on my car stating they are repossessing my vehicle due to it not being paid and they are taking it for payment. At this point, I was confused since it's a governmentally owned vehicle. It's paid by the government, paid by the tax money. Sure, my plate on it, I may put, pay the day-to-day on it, but essentially government-owned vehicle, so it's paid off. It's a bit confused, but essentially they end up getting the vehicle and took it to the Jackal compound. Me as a, as a law enforcement officer, did my job. I put forward the Jackals boys in custody. And with them being in custody, I searched them for any weapons, anything they shouldn't have on them. During this time, a individual named Franco Kushmol, very dangerous individual, his record's quite extensive, was making threats, and if you even look at your Twitter, he even took 4 of my officers hostage at one point. Escalated the situation. I tried to get, my car out the Jackal compound because obviously there's no need to pay for it. Like I say, it's all paid off. I tried to reason with Mr. Kushmore, but he did not want to reason. Like he had a ulterior motive, almost like he wanted me to come down to the compound so he could start something himself. So eventually, my hand was I was just playing my cards, right? So I got a couple of officers, not too many. Went to the Jackal compound, had a friendly discussion with him. Retrieved the car back, took it back to Mr. LSPD, and we provided the got medical down towards the Jackals just to make sure they're okay, make sure no one was harmed. During this, the compound set ablaze. Not too sure what happened with that one, but my belief, and I'm willing to say this because we weren't involved in the fire. We didn't start the fire. But my belief is purely that this is an insurance fraud right now. I believe with Mr. Kushmor's record of being a convicted terrorist, that he started the fire himself. Maybe the Jackals are struggling for money. Need that money to pay for their bikes, maybe pay for the arrests they've been getting. But certainly LSPD was not involved, or, we would never go out the way to harm civilians or even burn down a compound. That's all I've got to say about that situation.
That was the public statement from the LSPD. We're now moving down to St. Fiacres Hospital, where we're speaking with Teddy and the rest of his team about what happened from the LSFD's perspective.
Good evening, Moria. So a little slight. We were actually on our way to another call at the time of when this all went down, and we're pretty much driving past the Jackals compound as everything started kicking off. And to begin with things, there was a whole bunch of explosions, and you could just see a bunch of smoke coming from the area. So obviously, naturally, we put the call in for a fire engine and some support medical staff to be called in, and we set up quite quickly. Naturally, we grabbed our hoses and immediately sprung into action, trying to fight the fires on the exterior of the building, trying to keep the structural integrity of the place intact. And once we'd pretty much sorted out the exterior fires, we started, prepping ourselves to tackle the interior of the building. From there, pretty much, we sent a crew inside and had to tackle it as best as we could, try and find anybody inside that was in danger. Yes, we found, I believe it was Mr. Ooh who was found inside. And,
Oh,
he
no.
was, pretty serious injuries that he came out with, but was transported to our state-of-the-art medical.
So was this something that was taken care of by you guys, or was a vet called in, or?
Funnily enough, due to the similarities in biology between primates and humans, we were actually able to with a little bit of help of a outside help from a veterinary expert from
Excellent.
was an
I
area
think
that's quite close to.
that's very impressive either way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that was quite a stressful situation for you
Mhm.
guys. How long would you say the entire incident lasted? The fires and the explosions and all this chaos.
About 40 minutes to an hour to get everything under control.
Which I want to remind viewers that while 45 minutes or an hour may not necessarily seem the longest of all times, in such a high stressful situation, very dangerous, a lot of people in and out of the situation, a lot of explosions and other, very serious things happening. That must have felt like a near eternity, I'm sure.
Almost definitely. And, at the end of the day, the moments between life and death can be measured in seconds. So, a time frame of like 40 minutes to an hour, that's quite a long time when you're trying to save people. So at the moment, it's still a bit of a running investigation as to the actual source of the fire. We do have a couple theories. Some of them being negligence of a candle or a cigarette, maybe not put out correctly. Could have been a small electrical short here and there because we did find a couple electrical fires on scene. But we are should be concluding our investigation in the next about a week or so. It does take quite a little bit of time to investigate such a thing and conclude exactly where a fire started. Just due to the nature of fire itself being very destructive, and it obviously gets rid of a lot of evidence
Of
as
course,
to
yeah.
why things happened the way they did. But our investigators, fire investigators, are pretty up to the task, and we should have this wrapped up in a little bit.
That's the last of our interviews. We now wonder what is the truth and where will this story take us. We invite you guys to answer and comment and tell us what you think's going on. And we hope to find out by next week. This has been Moira Black, your anchor, and this is the end of the Weazel Nightly News.